interoperability. What in the heck does that mean?
What is patient data privacy?
Patient data privacy.
I want to kind of get into this a little bit. Patient data privacy. So
you have all these healthcare systems that are out there, and they're all trying to share data back and forth. But each system's different, and you got to manipulate the data a specific way to get it in there and make sure things are anonymous. Maybe some things won't be. Some systems will register it a specific way, and oh, wait a minute, that's actually telling me too much. It's like, how is it that you can maintain the privacy of data, shifting it back and forth, but you're doing it on behalf of the individual? How do you know for a fact that it wasn't shared properly? How do you know that it was truly a private interaction?
What happens if I go on vacation and my heart starts hurting and I go to a hospital in London and I need all my history?
Oh, interesting. So what do you got to do? You got to go find a way to get in contact with your hospital or your doctor. Do whatever you can to get into that record, and they probably won't even show you all of it. And then you have to ask them to fax this damn thing over. Oh, by the way, you got to pay for the fax. Fax this thing over to England so that the doctors over there know what your history is. Why isn't it that the record can't just be in the hands of the individual so I can just bring it with me?
Well, my sovereignty is...
You don't have sovereignty over your data at that point. So you don't really know how is it truly private if the ownership is not in your hands? It's private to the hospital. It's not private to you. That's your record. That's your health or your sickness. So much like my ability to move from state to state here in the United States, I have the ability to pick up and move and bring my stuff with me. I should have the ability to do that with my healthcare also. I should be able to take my record wherever the hell I want to go, not go beg for it to be shifted from one healthcare provider to the next. And that's why the interoperability is so limited. That's why things end up getting siloed, because it's too difficult, too labor intensive, too much red tape to actually move this thing. It lacks fungibility. That's an issue.
Yeah, and in the Office of the National Coordinators, we're reading this article on a Forbes article, ONC, the federal agency at the helm of health IT, finalized rules in March 2020 that began to break down these barriers by instituting a major shift to improve patients' access to data.
Why couldn't just patients have full access? Here's your data.
Why do we need the government to get involved to be the mediator between?
Why?
We talked about that with who's the guy that was running for president and wanted the government to be involved in our data?
No, I know. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Crap. That's how insignificant he is. I forgot about him. The idea here is that they didn't want to. Yang. Yeah. The idea is that they didn't want to give that data up because it's too valuable to them. The insurance companies were making money. The hospitals were making money off of your data. The pharmaceutical companies were making money off of your data.
Yeah, and in this article, they talk about like us being able to message, like I can message somebody in China or, the Philippines or Australia in 1 second. And then ride sharing. I can go just about anywhere and get an Uber.
But I can't
within seconds.
But I couldn't grab my medical record.
Online banking.
Yeah.
I can be anywhere in the world, log on, make a transfer.
No problem.
Yeah, I can call American Express, have them do this.
But I got to get a hold of the right person at the hospital to fax a document over? Crap.
To fax, bro.
Dude, you know what you can do with TARTLE?
So 1988.
Let me tell you about how this is solved. With TARTLE, we allow people to access over 85% of providers here in the United States so they can grab their healthcare record and have it in their control all the time. So if you go to a new provider, you can share it with them. If a pharmaceutical company wants to research you, they buy it from you. They don't buy it from a hospital. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and
it's your asset, dude. You should be able to carry that with you.
And we have to understand HIPAA talks about data a little bit, but that was 25 years ago.
They didn't have this thought in mind. They didn't know about TARTLE at this time. They weren't thinking about it. I wasn't thinking about it. Nobody was. But now, listen, if the information is about you, that's yours. If you've walked into the hospital that afforded them the opportunity to create that data through your interaction in there, that's your information. That's your life. It is not for them to decide what to do with it and how it should be given or shared.
Well, this even the healthcare sector, it's talking about that they followed in the footsteps of the consumer tech world. So that's what they're doing with your data. They're like, how can we monetize this?
Yeah. Wrong. It's not for you to monetize. It's for an individual to do what they want. If we actually want to increase the amount of research we have with healthcare data, you have to give it to people. You can't put it in these centralized systems that are a menace to get into where people are trying to lock down that value for themselves. It has to be opened up. That stuff has to, truthful things have to be shared.
Because we don't need, and the article talks about Facebook having like a 30-page data policy, terms of service and stuff like that. And they said, this is the risk that we're going to take in entering this realm. This is where these healthcare companies are wanting to go.
Yeah, and Epic, the CEO
so
of
it
Epic,
creates silos.
She wants the biggest silo of all. She doesn't want people to be in control of their healthcare information.
Mm-mm.
She has no interest in that. Why? Because you're making a mint off of it.
Mm-hmm.
With your little Epic online portals and all that other stuff. Don't be a hypocrite. Don't say that you want the best health for people if you're also trying to take the power and the free will away from them to do what they need to do. You're making the choice for them. There's nothing healthy about that decision in the aspect of a doctor or some sort of agency if they're making all the choices for you. It's your life. It's your healthcare information. You have the ability to do whatever you want with it. And on TARTLE, if you want to sell that info,
yes.
If you want to share it with researchers that actually care, if you want to elevate the pace at which we solve things in this world and in our future, you do that by grabbing your healthcare information on TARTLE Marketplace and saying, it's mine. I'm going to share it with who I choose to share it to when I want to do it.
Yeah, and they say this in their article. The guiding principle should continue to focus on the patient rather than the large incumbents attempting to control the dialogue.
That's precisely correct. That's what it always is. It's like the healthcare system has become the dictator for the person. You have no power. You've given up your power to the state. You've given up your privacy to the state. Why do I have to give up all my rights as a human being so that you can come to say, oh, but look what we're doing for your healthcare? You're not doing anything for my healthcare.
No.
The United States is getting more sick. People are becoming more unhappy. We need to take care of them. You need to empower people. You need to give them back their right to that information.
Yeah, and the guy that wrote this, Matthew, he says, similar to the public health efforts to reduce disparities such as social determinants of health, this will have to be a comprehensive effort sustained over time that takes special care to support and protect the most vulnerable among us.
You know who's most vulnerable? Human beings. If a dictator is coming in and they're deciding for you, you've made all human beings vulnerable. All of them. You're not worried about the business. You're worried about writing research papers that make you look good. But why can't somebody else somewhere research that same exact data? Why do you have to hold your hands on it in a total chokehold and not let it go? You have a death grip on it. You have a death grip on it. It is ice cold. You need to give it back to the people.
Yeah, and I think his last statement will close out in this because I think it's so beautiful. And this is why we need TARTLE. We are at an inflection point. The pandemic has proven the dangers that can arise with the lack of data and knowledge sharing.
That's precisely correct.
We're at this tipping point right now where data sharing saves lives.
Why do people not get that? It's information on a life. And if you can share truthful information, then researchers can bring all their brain power and resources together all across the globe to solve it at a rate faster than some research hospital could do it one-off to make themselves look good in the news.
And how many, I want to know how many research hospitals, how many healthcare, how were they
ethically sourcing their data?
No. Did they go to the patients and say, hey, we have this research hospital that wants to use your COVID information. We want to purchase that data from you.
Dude, none of them were doing that.
So
Zero. They're trying to take anonymized data. What do you think Google's trying to wrap their hands around all the stuff buying?
So they probably turned around and said, no, you can't have that data. It's siloed to us.
That's ours.
So guess what just happened?
It's on our service. Or wait a minute, they give you some sort of thing. Oh, our IT department can't let that. Can't let that out.
It's his personal privacy. So now, what if that patient wanted to get paid to be able to help research
or pay their medical bills? If they were sick and they created a record and they can share that to help pay back towards the cost of what they created, well, isn't that a fantastic full circle approach?
Who wins in that? Humanity.
Humanity wins.
The individual.
Oh my gosh. Life wins. Evolution wins. Give people back the power. Give people the ability to share their knowledge and share their truth.
So if a healthcare company wanted to have a conversation with TARTLE, maybe they're not ready to be a buyer yet, but they want to have a conversation. How can they do that?
They can email us, or they can call 833-243-3282, which is 833-BID-DATA, or you can sign up on TARTLE.
Yeah, be a buyer,
and look at stuff, right? Or you can buy. Like, there's many options you can take. You can message us anywhere. Hello, we're here. We're willing to help, and we want to give you the best information possible because it's not about us. It's about humanity.
Yes. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate it. Everybody go to tartle.co. If you're a buyer of data and you want to know more information, tartle.co. Click on, you have seller login, buyer login.
Yeah.
And you can register right there. Take the next step.
Red pill, blue pill.